Good Saturday morning, YouTube modeling community. Pappy here at West Georgia Rods and Customs. You're right, if it's Saturday morning, it's What's on Pappy's Bench, home of the best model builders on YouTube. Thought I'd get started off today, and if you're wondering why there's not a car sitting on the turntable, going to show y'all one of my older builds. We'll critique it here just in a little bit, but let's get started off first. Kind of been changing the format around on the show, trying to alter it. But still sticking with the guidelines of showing all these great model builders shot cards that I've received over the years. Let's start off right here. A good friend of mine, Todd Staples over at Tool Task. Remember when he built that beautiful old Chevy box truck right there? Just awesome build, 4-wheel drives. Man, I love them 4-wheel drives. But beautiful build. If you're not subscribed to Todd over at Tool Task, get subscribed to him. Tell him Pappy sent you. Next up on the block is my good friend Captain Nemo, Mr. Neiman Chambers over there at Captain Nemo's Model Zone. Look at those beautiful builds he did right there. Got him an old Impala, a Monte Carlo, and a beautiful 67 Camaro sitting right there on the very end. Get subscribed to Captain Nemo. We get together every now and then at a couple of shows. I've got to meet him several times at Acme. Looking forward to seeing him again this year over there at the Acme Southern Nationals. If you're not subscribed to Nemo, get subscribed to him. I'll drop a link down below for all these shot cards to their direct links to their channels. And following up, my good buddy Tommy over at Colonel Reb Scale Models. Hotty toddy, yes sir. We get together at shows. We've even went over, an Ole Miss boy and a Georgia boy goes over to a show in Alabama. Yeah, it's kind of the starting of a joke. I don't think I better even go there. But it's always great to get together with Tommy. We've been to several shows together. We've got together at Acme and Atlanticon and over there at the Phantom Flashers in Alabama. That's where the joke was leading to. But yeah, if you're not subscribed to Tommy over at Colonel Reb Scale Models, get subscribed to him. I'm gonna leave Tommy up right there on the turntable, let him get a little bit longer exposure. We're going to talk about the group builds that's going on in the YouTube community right now. First off, we got a new one coming up. Is the Cancer Awareness Group Build hosted by Buesking. That's running from October the 1st through October the 30th. I'll drop links down below to their channels. That way you can follow up on the details of the group build and let them know that you're joining in on it. Next off is the Halloween group build hosted by Russ over at Russell's Model Car Garage. That's running through September the 22nd through, November the 6th. And next on the list is, we're going to follow up with some of the ones from last week, is the Deformed cartoon and group build hosted by Papa Dan and my good friend on the turntable, Tommy at Colonel Reb's Scale Models. Golly, had a little brain fart there. That one's running from September the 1st through September the 30th. Still got a few days if you want to join in on it, or if you're finishing up on yours, just get started. Next on the list is the Hot Wheels group build hosted by my good friend Rick Wyckoff over at Rusty Rotors. That's running from September the 27th through December the 27th. And last but not least is the second annual Unified Scale Auto Content Creators of YouTube group build. This group build, this is one that I'm jumping in on. That's hosted by my good friend Mark Batson over at Hobby Dude 007 and Lucas C. That's running from September the 15th through January the 15th of 2023. Got plenty of time to join in on that. Looking forward to seeing everybody's updates and builds as they progress. Let's get Tommy off of the turntable right here and get this little stand off. Let's throw this old build up on this old girl right here. I'm going to tell y'all what, this is one that it's a shelf queen, and that was how I intended to build it. I was in the learning curve, taking a learning curve back in the days of experimenting with kit bashing, building frames and things like that, and this is one of my first efforts. And I'm going to show y'all the dirt on this particular one. I don't mean dust. I'm talking about build flaws. Do I have build flaws? Yeah, I do, and I don't mind showing it. First thing I'm going to do, we're going to turn this car around. I'm going to see if y'all can pick them out. I'm going to let y'all pick this one to death. And as I turn it on around, we'll talk about it. This we're the Unified Scale Auto Content Creators of YouTube. We're hosting this this group build and building the I think it's a 70 Roadrunner or the Plymouth GTX. That particular kit right there, you can build it any way you want. Just got to use one of those kits. What I'm going to do is, and if you notice I built this old Chevelle as a gasser, and that's what I'm going to be doing to my GTX. I'm going to do a gasser, and it's going to have this stance on it. And if you notice, and I'm going to stop it right here, it's got raised up in the back as far as raised up in the back with a little bit of height to it to clear those drag tires. Gasser front end tilted up in the front a little bit. Just that's how I like to see my gassers. This is I don't want to see, and I'm going to over exaggerate, I don't like that type of stance. I like for it to be level. We're going to be fabricating not a frame on this one. I fabricated a frame on this one because this is one of the older 67 Chevelle Revell kits that was a Pro Street a long time ago. And I robbed a lot of parts out of it, saved the body, but I had the body left over, and I thought, man, I'm going to build me a gasser. Well, I got to have a frame, so I scratch built me a frame. But we were talking about flaws. Let's pull this on around. If you notice the center to center right here of the fender welds, I've almost nailed it right there, but if you spin this kit or this car on around, I got off in my center to center right here. So when you're building frames, pay attention to that, because it does show up in the long run. At least it did in this one on mine. I'm not proud of it, but I am going to show flaws of what and what not to do in a build. So let's tip it over, and if you can see, let me tip the camera over a little bit. If you look on the mirror turntable right there, I built a frame. Wasn't the best one, but I did build a frame for this particular car. So, that being said, learned a lot about building frames, a lot about building suspensions, and so when you're kit bashing, and if you're having to build a frame, just make sure that your center to center on your fender well and the center of your wheel always line up. This one did not. But what we can do, we can always turn it around to this one right here, and that's where it's the closest. But this build right here was one of my first where I was learning different things, cutting out the fender wells. That helps a lot. And if you notice also, let me tip it back on its side. I didn't use a big block on that. That was an old kit engine that I had left over, and I used a small block Chevrolet on that one. Started doing a lot of detail work on the interiors. Wasn't flocking at the time, just painting a basic dull gray. I think that's primer if I'm not mistaken. Learned how to do a package tray in the back right there. So really had a lot of fun with this. This is the old Chevelle that, if you notice the back end of the Chevelle, it's got the square headlights or tail lights on it, and that balance panel right there. So just really didn't. I wish I'd hung on to this kit, to be honest. I wish I could find one at a show, and if I ever do, I'm gonna grab it up and I'm gonna build it. I've got a multitude of 67 Chevelle bodies from all the Pro Streets that I build. That's kind of my go-to kit for that. But I've got the bodies left over. I'm going to do a brother-sister build to accompany this one right here. I'm going to take one of those kits, which I said that I've got a billion, I say a billion, but I've got a lot of bodies left over. So I'm going to build I'm going to do an all-out build on that one and create this one, a little brother or a little sister to sit beside of it. We're going to paint it possibly the same color. I was using Duplicolor on this particular build at the time. I didn't even spray, I don't even think I put clear on this thing. I just sprayed Duplicolor, buffed it out, and there it was, Shelf Queen. But there she is right there. But this is the stance I'm going to be duplicating on my Unified Scale Auto Content Creator group build. Raised up in the back, a little bit of rake in the front, tipping upward. That's a gasser to me. I am going to be cutting out the fender wells and things like that. That way I can fit that big massive Hemi engine down in there. We're going to leave that one right there, parked like that on the turntable, and let y'all take a look at it. But yeah, you got to have when I started out building, I didn't even have a YouTube channel when I built this particular kit. So with that being said, let each build, learn from if you make a mistake, learn from it, move forward, and don't try to make it again on your next one. And you'll keep getting better results as each build progresses. All right, folks. Well, that's about it. Get by a lot of these group builds. Join in on them. Tell them Pappy sent you. Go by these awesome content creators that the shop cards were in the front, and tell them Pappy sent you. If you'd like to have your card debuted on What's on Pappy's Bench on Saturday, I'll drop a link to my email below. Send me a shop card. We'll get you up on the turntable as soon as possible. Working on my shop cards at the moment. Got to get them to the printer. I've got the final copy of what I want, how I want it to look, and which builds I'm going to be using on my shop cards. So be looking for that coming up here pretty soon. Also, wanted to give another shout out for another what's going on YouTube today. My good friend Josh Risdom over at Meet the Modeler. He is going to be interviewing Donnie Daughtery, the model builder. That comes on today, which is September the 24th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. Get by Josh's channel, tell him Pappy sent you, and watch that awesome interview he's going to do with Donnie. All right, guys, remember, if you can build it, dream it, God bless y'all. Pappy out of here.